Welcome back, and the top story for this day is that the Zondo Commission will recommend to the Constitutional Court that former President Jacob Zuma be imprisoned for contempt of court for defying an order by the highest court forcing him to appear before the commission. The chairperson of the commission, Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, said that if Zuma is allowed to ignore his summons to appear before the commission, there will be lawlessness and chaos in the courts, with being used as a precedent by other witnesses. So Zuma failed to appear before the commission this morning, and the former president furnished the commission with a letter through his lawyers alerting it that he will not appear this week. Zondo says Zuma had no valid or sound reason for not appearing.
The Commission views Mr. Zuma's conduct in a very serious light, particularly because it's repeated conduct. The Commission has not treated Mr. Zuma unfairly at all. He has no valid or sound reason for not appearing before the Commission. The Commission has taken note that in this type of situation, the law makes provision that it may apply for what is called, it may institute what is called contempt of court proceedings. The Commission will do so. What that entails is that the Commission will make an application to the Constitutional Court, which is the court that made the order that Mr. Zuma has defied, and seek an order that Mr. Zuma is guilty of contempt of court. And if the Constitutional Court reaches that conclusion, then it is in its discretion what to do. One of the things it can do is to impose a term of imprisonment on Mr. Zuma. Another would be for it to impose a fine. The Commission will approach the Constitutional Court and ask it to impose a term of imprisonment on Mr. Zuma if it finds that he is guilty of contempt of court. It will be up to the court what it considers appropriate. But that is what the Commission's position is. Mr. Zuma will be given a full opportunity to oppose that application if he wishes to, and place before the Constitutional Court whatever facts or arguments he wishes to place before it, and the Constitutional Court will decide.
Right, to make sense of what's happening regarding this matter, we joined via Zoom by Lawson Naidoo from the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution. Well, good afternoon to you and welcome. Firstly, let me just get your general picture of what you make out of this defiance from Jacob Zuma not to appear before the Commission.
Well, I think it wasn't a surprise. Mr. Zuma has made clear that he will not cooperate with the Commission, that he will not appear to answer questions before the Commission. And he has thrown down a challenge to the Commission to say that if needs be and I have to go to jail, then he will. And I think the Deputy Chief Justice, in his remarks this afternoon, has responded to that threat and responded to the repeated transgressions against summonses that have been issued by the Commission of Inquiry.
Now, when it comes to the decision of a prison term, what are the implications here? I mean, like looking at the beginning stages of whether or not it will be possible to arrest him. As you know, the current state of affairs right now is the support group and the MKVA are saying that they will not allow him to be arrested. Just that two-pronged approach, your analysis on that?
Well, I think the legal process is clear, and the Deputy Chief Justice has set that out in his remarks earlier. The Commission will bring an application, I presume it will be an urgent application, to the Constitutional Court to ask the court to find Mr. Zuma guilty of contempt of court, because there is an order of the Constitutional Court requiring Mr. Zuma to adhere and comply with the summons that has been issued by the Commission. His failure to appear this morning renders him guilty of the crime of contempt of court. So the Constitutional Court will consider that matter, and in considering that, the Commission will, as has been said, they will ask the court to impose a custodial sentence rather than a fine. And once that sentence, if Mr. Zuma is found guilty and a sentence is imposed, he will then have to either present himself to the police station for arrest and transfer to a prison. And if he fails to do that, then a warrant for his arrest will be issued, and he will be sought after and arrested. So,
does he have a right not to appear before the Zondo Commission? And secondly, the issue of the right to silence so that he may not incriminate himself?
Well, nobody has the right not to appear before the Commission of Inquiry. All South Africans are obliged to cooperate with this commission, and if a summons is issued, then you are obliged to respect and comply with that summons. If Mr. Zuma had any issue with the lawfulness or legality of that summons, his right of recourse was to challenge that in the courts and to have that summons set aside. He has chosen not to do that. His lawyer simply wrote this morning and say that the summons is irregular in some way, which they haven't explained. But that's not up to either Mr. Zuma or his lawyers to make that determination. That is a matter for the courts. With regards to his right to silence, the Constitutional Court in its judgment last month made it very clear that witnesses before a Commission of Inquiry are not criminal suspects. They're not in a criminal proceedings. They are witnesses before a fact-finding Commission of Inquiry and do not enjoy the right to silence. With regards to the right against self-incrimination, a witness before a Commission of Inquiry, the court ruled, could lay claim to such a right, but they would have to show cause to the Commission as to why any question that is put to them might incriminate themselves. So there's no blanket right against self-incrimination in the way, for example, that was claimed by Dudu Myeni. And as was made clear in the proceedings today, the Commission's legal team may make an application to re-examine Ms. Dudu Myeni so that she is forced to answer questions that she refused to do the last time she appeared.
Is there a selective targeting of Jacob Zuma here? And when you look at the sequence of events, if he was a target before he became president, this intelligence reference, the MI6 and the conspiracy to stop who should and should not become the president of South Africa in future by then. And also, during his presidency in the 9-year term, why was he still a target? And then post his presidency, why would he still be a target regarding his presidency and him being the former head of intelligence of the ANC? What's there for people to gain, and what's there for Jacob Zuma to lose if he appears before the commission?
Well, let's start by saying that those issues about the way Mr. Zuma may or may not have been targeted before he became president are issues that he has chosen to raise. They've got nothing to do with the terms of reference of the Commission of Inquiry. These are terms of reference that Mr. Zuma himself signed off on. In at least 4 of those terms of reference, he's referred to specifically either as Mr. Zuma or as the president, which he was at the time. He therefore mandated the commission to conduct those investigations. And as Mr. Pretorius, the head of the investigation, the commission's legal team, spelled out today, there are a litany of issues that Mr. Zuma is required to respond to based on evidence that has been led before the Commission of Inquiry by witnesses. He's been implicated by no less than 40 witnesses. And what the Commission of Inquiry is seeking to do is to discharge its mandate, which is to inquire as to whether there was state capture, the extent of that state capture, and who is responsible for it. And in that regard, Mr. Zuma has very pertinent questions to respond to, and it's quite clear that he is using every trick in the book to evade that accountability. All of these issues that he raises about so-called intelligence conspiracies against him and the like are merely smokescreens for him to evade accountability. They've got nothing to do with the terms of reference of the Commission of Inquiry. Any allegations of political bias are similarly intended to deflect away from his central role in state capture, according to a considerable amount of evidence before the Commission. And those are the issues we need to be focusing on, and not the conspiracy theories that Mr. Zuma and his supporters propagate.
All right. Thank you very much for an analysis from Lawson Naidoo, who is from the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.